Let's also take a look at how it all panned out. The genesis of this conflict dates back to a long time in history. However, the Israel hostage crisis of October 7, 2023 triggered the conflict between Israel and Hamas. The next report gives us a brief timeline of what happened between October 7, 2023 to the present time leading to this ceasefire deal.
The Israel-Hamas war has had a long history. However, the hostage attacks of October 7, 2023 triggered the current conflict. Let's now tell you the timeline. October 7, 2023, Hamas-led terrorists storm into southern Israel from Gaza and rampage through communities. Retaliatory airstrikes on Gaza begin, along with the total siege. October 8, 2023, Lebanon's Hezbollah fires on Israel, leading to sustained hostilities. October 13th, 2023, Israel tells residents of Gaza City to move south. October 19, 2023, a US Navy warship intercepts missiles and drones launched from Yemen towards Israel. October 21, 2023, 8 trucks allowed through the Rafah border crossing from Egypt into Gaza. October 27, 2023, Israel launches its ground offensive in Gaza. November 15th, Israeli troops enter Gaza's biggest hospital, Al-Shifa, after a siege of several days. November 21st, Israel and Hamas announce a 7-day truce and release of around half the hostages, but war resumes on December 1st. December 4th, Israeli forces launch their first big ground assault in southern Gaza towards the main southern city, Khan Yunis. April 1st, 2024, Iran's embassy compound in Damascus is hit by a suspected Israeli airstrike that kills several military officers, including a top general. Tehran responds 2 weeks later by firing hundreds of missiles and drones at Israel. May 6th, 2024, Hamas says it has accepted a proposal for a ceasefire, but Israel said it had not agreed to that text. June 23, 2024, Netanyahu says the phase of intense fighting against Hamas in Gaza is coming to an end, but that the war will not finish until Hamas no longer controls the enclave. August 1st, 2024, Israel's military says it killed Mohammad Deif, Hamas military chief, in an airstrike on July 13th. September 17, 2024, Israel detonates thousands of booby-trapped pager communication devices used by Hezbollah in Lebanon, injuring hundreds of its members. September 28, 2024, an Israeli airstrike in Beirut kills Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, one of many strikes against the group's senior leadership. October 5th, 2024, Israeli forces launch major anti-Hamas operation in northern Gaza focused on Jabalia refugee camp. October 16th, 2024, Israel kills Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar in a shootout in Rafah. November 27, 2024, Israel and Hezbollah agree on a ceasefire in Lebanon. On the same day, rebels in Syria launch an offensive that will quickly topple President Bashar al-Assad, a major ally of Hezbollah and its Iranian backer. December 2nd, 2024, US President-elect Donald Trump says there will be hell to pay in the Middle East if hostages in Gaza are not freed before his January 20 inauguration. January 15th this year, negotiators reach a deal for a ceasefire in the Gaza war between Israel and Hamas after 15 months of conflict that has killed tens of thousands of Palestinians and inflamed West Asia. Bureau Report, DD India.
And DD India correspondent Akshay Dongre joins us live now with the latest on the story. Akshay, 15 months of brutal fighting. What will day one of the much-awaited ceasefire entail?
Well, Shubhendu, what we are expecting right now, and this is all based on the kind of statements that have been made from the leaders of both the sides. As soon as the ceasefire begins, it comes into effect. We can expect hundreds of trucks to move inside Gaza. Now, these are trucks with relief materials, supplies of essentials for the people, for the residents of Gaza. Now, a lot of NGOs, a lot of civil societies have not been able to provide the much needed help to the Palestinians who were residing in Gaza, given the fighting that was going on. But as soon as the ceasefire is announced, we can expect the officials from both the sides to, in fact, start with the work of implementing the conditions of the ceasefire on the ground. That includes the return of the hostages from both the sides, from as far as Palestine is as far as Gaza is concerned, there will be efforts made by the Palestinian authorities to, in fact, start the work of rebuilding at least the basic infrastructure, including healthcare facilities that are much needed right now. Then to resumption of supplies of food and safe drinking water to the homes of the people who will be returning in huge numbers from the places where they have sought refuge. Now, we can also see a huge influx of refugees moving into the bigger cities to gather whatever the remnants they have after the 15-month-long conflict that has, in fact, devastated the basic infrastructure of Gaza as well. The work of rebuilding has to start, but before that, the first thing will be to ensure that the ceasefire that is being implemented is a lasting one, and both the sides adhere to the kind of conditions that have been finalized in the ceasefire, because we have seen this previously as well, that ceasefires have been announced and have been broken within 24 hours of time.
Right, that point, Akshay. In fact, Prime Minister Netanyahu's statement on the readiness to resume military action points at how fragile the ceasefire agreement may be.
Well, absolutely. In fact, Shubhendu, we have seen the kind of language that has been used by Benjamin Netanyahu, where he said that the country it remains to be prepared to resume the war against the Hamas leadership in the Gaza Strip, as well as other parts of the world as well. He's in fact not just clarified that Israel possesses or still has the capability to relaunch the offensive strikes, but also said that he has support of the United States as well, with him naming both the sides of the US atmosphere, with both him naming President Biden, who comes from the Democratic setup, and President Trump. It clearly shows that Israel has full support of US, not just one side of the political spectrum, but the entire political leadership, the Senate as well as the Congress. With him having full support of the US, and in fact the US leadership, including President Donald Trump, making statements such as Middle East will have hell to pay if hostages are not returned, that clearly gives out a signal that how fragile the situation remains. But the statement that has come from Netanyahu, with him saying that if all the hostages are not returned, Israel remains prepared to relaunch these offensive strikes against Hamas, clearly goes on to show that the ceasefire, the peace remains fragile, and that is why, as far as return of the refugees and the refugees are concerned from different parts of Gaza to their homes, it will be carefully decided that in what phased manner it happens, so that if any case, in any case of relaunch of strikes, more casualties do not take place on the ground.
Akshay, thank you for those updates.